Hi, everybody. Welcome back to A Gringo Sergipano. This is episode 12, where we're building the city of Kier. And today we're going to continue our construction of the neighborhood, or I guess the area, it's probably a town by itself, of Leonora. We're going to continue to develop this peninsula as well as create a forestry area. Let's get started, shall we? Alright, so today we're going to start with the grid that we showed at the end of the last episode. I have gone ahead and added city services throughout the area so we have good coverage, and now we can start zoning. There we go. Now we're zoned. Everything is mostly low density residential in this area. I do have a little bit of high density towards the avenue, but let's let this grow in now. Okay, so I'm adding connectivity to this area from Gunnell Highway. You might notice that this is a little wonky, but I swear there's a reason why things are like this. I promise. Let me get on the other side now. Okay, the other side is a little bit more of a traditional park low. I am really planning ahead here more than anything. I don't want the connection to go through the neighborhood. I want things to be as it is. Okay, so this is the basic low density section of Leonora. Everything has filled in very nicely, and I'm really excited to get started on the next part, which is our forestry industry. Okay, so this little triangle of land here is where we're going to construct a pretty large forestry industry. So I want to go ahead and get started, but I need to do a couple things first, such as extend this quay wall that surrounds the entire peninsula and drag it over to this side. And the reason for that may become a little bit more apparent later, but I really just like the consistency. I have plopped our forestry headquarters as well as quite a few plots of beech trees. I am going to plant a different type of tree on the other side of this road here. Yep, like conifers. I have conifers on this side. I've also added some storage buildings and some maintenance on the opposite side of the beech trees. Okay, so this area where one might think I might have put the other part of my park low, I have added my plain timber industry, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. We have plenty of storage, plenty of production facilities. It is right next to the traffic circle that leads into the whole industry, and I think it's really going to help everything. Okay, so I've added another workers' barracks, and we have also added a cargo train station that I think is going to be very important because this is going to be such a huge industry. We're going to import and export a lot. Alright, so next to the train station I have added a little bit of our paper production facilities. I don't know how much I like this. I'm pretty sure, in fact I know that, I don't like it. I'm going to go ahead and change things a little bit to the way I like it. Much better. I really am much more pleased with the way things have turned out with my paper production area. We have more capacity, we have more storage capacity, we have more buildings to support the overall needs of our forestry industry and the various production factories thereof. Okay, so I need to go ahead and work on a couple of finishing touches here. It's going to take a little bit, but I want to add another connection to the highway, and I think I want to change the way that the rail's coming in, because I'm not really a big fan of the way it is right now. Most things just underground to make it work. Okay, in order to accommodate raising the rail, I have indeed raised the highway so that the rail can go underneath it on ground level. So let's see how this is all going to work out. Alright, so the rail actually ends up being raised and then dips back down to go underneath the highway. I don't have the net grade connection on the road there, but I'm pretty happy with the way this has turned out. I set myself up well for this Parklow connection. Yeah, I mean, now I have, I'm happier with my rail connection, and I'm happier with my road connection coming up, so I can continue to work on what I need to. And this is how the roads are going to work out. You know, everything is kind of connected with a traffic circle there. I think that is going to really, connect everything, because there's going to be a lot of things that need to move about the forestry industry. So I'm very happy with this. Hey, look, it's another bridge to nowhere. Maybe that means something's going to happen over there eventually, right? Because there's two bridges that lead to the same place and there's nothing over there. Surely that's it. Oh, hey, look, I added a cargo port. I know it's very weird. I don't think this is something I've ever done, adding a industry-specific cargo port. Usually I try to have one major thing, but I think this is going to be good because of the size of this industry. As I was adding this industry, I kind of knew that this section here was going to turn out to be a park, and I've made it as such. I do have a path that leads over the avenue, but I like the park. I think it's great. Okay, and after a little bit more just generic, well, not generic because it's forestry industry, but industrial zoning, we have our full forestry area that look huge compared to the rest of this neighborhood, so it's going to be a big boon to the city. And I guess the last thing that's at least tangentially related to our forestry area is that we are going to extend bus line 6 a little bit further to have a couple stops within the forestry area. Okay, so I do have this last little bit to develop over here by the river. I have added an extended works campus. I have more sewage treatment, more hydroelectric stuff. I think this is going to be a good use for this land. It's something that I tend to forget about in cities. I've added factories, a seafood factory, a household plastic factory, and a clothing factory. And I think that these are going to really help our industry. Hopefully I can remember to add more to other cities. Looking at you, Palma. And with the rest of the land in this area, we're going to add a little bit more low density residential. Do have a couple connections to the low density neighborhood as well. It's just, I don't want to put more industrial. I'm going to need the people. I think that this is going to be a nice area to live in. Okay, so even though transit is not an afterthought in this city, it always does seem to be the last thing I do in an episode. I just want to point out that Tramline 5 is bad and it should feel bad. I thought it was a good idea to loop there, but it's not. It really isn't. I'm going to rework it now. So we're going to make a new Tramline 5 that takes a much more logical path. Okay, I foresee this having much better utilization, running from the passenger port across the bay or whatever this is here, and then down the avenue between the forestry industry and the low density residential area. I think that this is going to be a much more utilized and necessary tram line. And now to add a couple more bus lines, I have added bus line 18, kind of to fill the void of the other part of Tramline 5, running from the port down along the riverside, and I think that's a bus line's a better use here. So we also have bus line 19, which will run in a perpendicular direction from bus line 18 through the low density section, kind of to the edge of the forestry area. And then bus line 20, which kind of forms another L going through this other section. Really, everything seems to be well connected in this area. We have good transit connectivity. Alright, and that's it for Leonora. I am really pleased with the way this build has turned out. We have a really nice forestry industry and a pretty large neighborhood to support it. But yeah, I don't know what's coming next, but I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.